You've heard that raspy, fiery voice that tore through the night sky of Woodstock 1969. But the photographs I'm about to reveal are ones you've likely never seen before. Her life wasn't just told through timeless songs, but also hidden within frames forgotten for over 50 years. And now, for the very first time, you'll witness the full truth, untold stories, her final moments, and the real reason she passed away at the age of 27. Hit subscribe and don't take your eyes off this video. When people talk about Janis Joplin, they often think of a voice like fire, a wild lifestyle, and a sudden end at the age of 27. But few know that all that intensity stemmed from a childhood quietly filled with pain. Janis was born and raised in a conservative well town in Texas, where women were expected to be gentle, to smile just enough, and to stay within the lines. But Janis was never like that. Even as a child, she didn't like wearing dresses, preferred wandering alone, and painted abstract pictures while other girls played with dolls. That difference was not welcomed, it was criticized and mocked. The other kids called her the pimply freak or the weird girl no one wants to talk to. From high school on, Janis had to push herself just to survive. In the hallways of Thomas Jefferson High School, she walked past sneering looks and cruel whispers. No one knew that each night, she stood in front of her mirror, silently asking, "What's wrong with me?" In her teenage journals, she once wrote that she just wished someone would call me pretty without making it a joke. The only thing that made her feel like she had a purpose was music. In her messy little bedroom, Janis would clutch her record player and listen over and over to Bessie Smith and Billie Holiday, black women who had also been hurt but still sang like they were tearing their hearts out. She learned to hold a note like it was endless pain, to scream as if she was breaking chains inside her soul. When she got to college, Janis thought she would finally find freedom. But at the University of Texas, she was still the different one. No makeup, faded jeans, barefoot across campus, and always carrying her auto harp. The male students laughed behind her back, gave her the nickname the crazy girl with the tangled hair. One student paper even printed her photo with the caption, "The girl who isn't ashamed to be different." After years of isolation in her youth, when Janis Joplin stepped into the world of music, she wasn't just searching for a stage to express herself, she was searching for love, as a way to prove that she was worthy of being loved, despite a past full of rejection. The first man who deeply moved her was Peter DeBlanc, a sound engineer she met in the early 1960s while studying in Texas. Peter was the first person who made Janis believe she could have a normal life, a family, a home, someone who would stay. When they got engaged, she started to dream of candlelit dinners, a small house, and a love without conditions. But when Peter left without a word, Janis didn't just lose a lover, she lost her belief that she deserved to be loved gently. The pain in that relationship was the feeling of abandonment. From that point on, Janis seemed to develop a kind of emotional defense mechanism in love. Either she loved fiercely and accepted the pain, or she pushed people away before they could do the same to her. Peter wasn't just a man who passed through her life. He was the one who unintentionally planted the belief deep inside her that someone like her didn't deserve lasting love. After Peter, Janis threw herself into a series of short-lived affairs, mostly with people she met on tour, musicians, technicians, or just audience members who made her feel heard. One of them was Chris Christopherson. With Chris, things were different. Janis didn't try to possess him or demand to be with him every night. Instead, she loved Chris with a gentleness rarely seen in her, reflected in the song Me and Bobby McGee. What's more, Janis never told Chris that the song was for him. She simply sent him the recording, quietly, and then passed away not long after. This love ran deep because it wasn't loud. For the first time, Janis knew what it felt like to love someone without needing to own them, just needing them to understand her soul. Ironically, it was that gentleness that kept the relationship from going any further. Chris didn't know how to handle the everyday Janis when the whole world only wanted to see her on stage. And Janis, though she never admitted it, had hoped Chris would stay, but he left too. One thing that's rarely spoken of is her same-sex relationship with Peggy, the owner of a fashion boutique in Haight-Ashbury. Peggy wasn't just a lover, she was the one who witnessed Janis struggling between her true feelings and the mask of fame. Janis once confessed to a close friend, "When I'm with a woman, I feel more accepted. But when I go public, people say I'm just being outrageous for attention." Peggy later said, "Janis loved me in a way she never loved anyone else, but she also broke me in ways no one else ever could." They used drugs together, fell into deep depressions together, but also held each other through the night just to cry. That relationship didn't end because the love ran out, it ended because neither of them could save the other from their own darkness. Janis Joplin's death was not just a shock to the music world. It was a sudden and contradictory full stop to a life constantly torn between the spotlight and the shadows. On October 4th, 1970, Janis was found dead in her room at the Landmark Motor Hotel in Los Angeles. The official cause of death was declared to be a heroin overdose, combined with alcohol. But what haunted people was not the cause, it was the way she died, quietly, alone, right at the peak of her career and just before the release of her album Pearl. The first strange detail was that, on the night of her death, no one heard a sound, no cries for help, no sign she was in crisis. According to her manager, Janis had left her room tidy, with a tip for the housekeeper neatly placed on the table. That detail led many to wonder, was this a quiet goodbye, planned in advance? Another notable point was that her close friend and former lover Peggy Caserta was nearby but never saw Janis that night. In her memoir, Peggy wrote that she had a bad feeling but didn't knock on the door, thinking Janis was just drunk. Peggy later said she lived with that regret for the rest of her life. She believed that if she had knocked, maybe things would have turned out differently. Police found no signs of struggle or involvement from a third party. But according to some members of her production team, just days before her death, Janis confided that she felt she was just existing temporarily and that she didn't feel like she belonged anywhere. That's not something you'd expect from someone doing well, and certainly not from someone about to release a promising new album. The most widely accepted theory is that Janis didn't mean to take her own life, but she also no longer cared about staying alive. She didn't plan to die, but she had stopped planning to live. In an unsent letter found in her suitcase, she had written, "Some nights I just wish someone would hold me and tell me I'm okay. But by now, I've stopped hoping for that." One detail that shocked fans, the heroin Janis used was said to be 3 times more potent than usual. In the same week she died, 3 other people connected to the same supply line also overdosed. But Janis was the only famous one. The case was quickly closed as an accident, but the questions have never fully gone away. She passed away while working on a new song. The last recording left only a rough vocal track. The producers chose to keep that unfinished piece, like a broken note in a life full of unfinished music. Janis Joplin passed away at just 27 years old, but what she left behind lives on forever. Not just a burning voice, but a free spirit, a heart full of scars, and a life that dared to live, dared to love, and dared to hurt. She wasn't perfect, but it was exactly that imperfection that made Janis a legend, one that can never be replaced. Today, every time her voice rings out, people don't just hear music, they hear a whisper, "I once lived." Fully. Do you think Janis was right to live the way she did? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want to continue this journey into the lives of great but tragic souls like Janis Joplin, don't forget to hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you won't miss the next videos.